The land we know as Israel and the Palestinian territories is of extraordinary historical and religious significance. For millennia it has been home to Jews and Arabs, their lives intertwined in coexistence and conflict. In the early 20th century, these tensions erupted, marking the beginning of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At the heart of this conflict lies a fundamental question of land and identity. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim this land as their rightful home. The seeds of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict were sown in the aftermath of World War I. The Ottoman Empire crumbled, leaving behind a power vacuum with far-reaching consequences. In 1920, the League of Nations granted Great Britain a mandate over Palestine. This mandate came with the responsibility of establishing a Jewish national home while safeguarding the rights of the existing Arab population. The Balfour Declaration of 1917 further fueled tensions. Jewish immigration to Palestine increased significantly, driven by persecution in Europe and the Zionist movement's aspiration for a Jewish state. This influx sparked fear and resentment among the Arab population who felt their homeland was being taken away. Arab resentment towards British rule and Jewish immigration grew, culminating in the Arab Revolt of 1936 to 1939. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan for Palestine, dividing the land into two states, one Jewish and one Arab. The plan was accepted by Jewish leaders but rejected by Arab leaders. In 1948, Jewish leaders declared the establishment of the State of Israel. The declaration triggered the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, resulting in Israel's victory and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. Over 700,000 Palestinians fled or were expelled from their homes, becoming refugees. The issue of Palestinian refugees and their right of return remains one of the most contentious issues in any peace negotiation. The decades following the 1948 war witnessed a series of wars and uprisings. The Six-Day War in 1967 resulted in Israel capturing the West Bank, East Jerusalem, Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights. This victory led to the occupation of Palestinian territories and further complicated the question of land and sovereignty. The Palestinian struggle for self-determination continued, culminating in the First Intifada in 1987. The Oslo Accords, signed in the 1990s, aimed to find a peaceful resolution but were hampered by continued violence and settlement expansion. The Second Intifada in 2000, marked by intense violence, shattered the fragile peace process. The construction of the separation barrier by Israel, while reducing suicide bombings, further restricted Palestinian movement and fueled resentment. The early 1990s brought hope with the Oslo Accords. Signed in 1993, they aimed for a two-state solution. The Accords promised peace and coexistence. The PLO recognized Israel and Israel acknowledged the PLO. Rabin's assassination in 1995 was a severe blow. Continued settlement expansion undermined trust. The Second Intifada in 2000 ended the peace process. The decades-long conflict has left deep scars on both societies. For Palestinians, the occupation has meant living with restrictions on movement, economic hardship, and the constant threat of violence. The Gaza Strip, under blockade since 2007, faces a dire humanitarian crisis. The repeated rounds of conflict have resulted in widespread destruction of infrastructure and displacement of civilians. On the Israeli side, the conflict has created a climate of fear and insecurity. Many Israelis live with the trauma of past attacks and the knowledge that their country is engaged in a perpetual conflict. The economic costs of the conflict are significant for both sides. The resources devoted to security could be used for social and economic development, benefiting both Israelis and Palestinians. As we stand at this crossroads, the future of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains uncertain. The recent escalation in violence serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of the situation. The underlying issues that have fueled this conflict for decades remain unresolved. The international community has a critical role to play in breaking this cycle. A renewed commitment to a negotiated two-state solution is essential. This requires addressing the core issues of borders, Jerusalem, settlements, refugees, and security in a just and equitable manner. Efforts to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza and ease restrictions on Palestinian movement are crucial. Investing in education, dialogue, and reconciliation initiatives can help bridge divides and foster a culture of peace. The future of Israelis and Palestinians depends on their ability to break free from the cycle of violence and embrace a future of coexistence and shared prosperity.